presented by Seat77.com. As always, Dave Dabbah is coming to you live from the Super Plus Seat 77 broadcast studio in the heart of Silicon Valley. Now, Dave Dabbah.
Good afternoon, North America. I am Dave Dabbah, and this is the Dave Dabbah Big Show for a Thursday. Okay, super excited about today's big show. Here's what we have for you today. Arian Foster is officially walking the mean streets of Houston, Texas, looking for a new gig. The Clippers stormed back and beat OKC, and they didn't even have to use Chuck the Condor for the victory. We also have on today's big show, and we're super excited about this, a listener request. Actually, we had several listeners ask for this. The 2016 NFL post-combine mock draft. All of that and more on today's super big show. Okay, so producer Buck wants me to tell everybody info at Seat77.com. We're on Stitcher. We're on TuneIn. You can check us out on Facebook. I know we have more channels. We're also on iTunes, the iTunes channel. We are super excited about this. We have, as hard to believe, in under 4 weeks, we have made it in to the top 75 sports podcasts in North America. Now, if only we can figure out how to beat those tennis.com people with their podcasts. Anyways, so super excited. Subscribe to that channel when you have a chance. Okay, no better story today in the National Football League than this Marvin Harrison calling out Terrell Owens. We've got audio of this. This is courtesy of the Talk of Fame radio network. Producer Buck, go ahead and play it now.
I wasn't concerned at all. I'm not concerned about, T.O. at not one bit. I was concerned about myself. So I wasn't worried about splitting the vote with anyone. And that was it. The person that was supposed to get in, got in, and that was me. If he didn't get in, that's his problem. He can saying all the other he's been doing, that's on him. But I'm in. My jacket is gold. I don't look in the rearview mirror for nobody, so he can get his ass in whenever he gets in. He gets in. Doesn't get in, too bad.
Marvin, a follow-up question on that. Now that you're in, you're a member of the Hall. Nobody can take that away from you. Should Terrell Owens be in the Hall? I'm
not worried about nobody in my rearview mirror. I'm only worried about the gold jacket. And I have a gold jacket. I'm not worried about gold jackets behind me. Okay, if it's up to me, Isaac Bruce, Reggie Wayne, I can go and list, Moss, Randy Moss can all get in. They all get a lot of class with them. If they didn't get in the same time I got in, they'd have had a better approach about it as opposed to this guy. And I'm not worried about nobody else but me. My jacket is gold. I don't look in the rearview mirror.
You got to love Marvin Harrison. I mean, telling you, Marvin Harrison is just like Donald Trump. I mean, if it comes into his mind, he simply spits it out. Donald Trump, let's just build a wall between here and Mexico. And then a couple weeks later, Trump's like, let's make that wall 700 feet high. And then a couple weeks later, let's have Mexico actually pay for this $12 billion wall. Anyway, so Marvin Harrison calling out Terrell Owens for his Hall of Fame comments. And this is my really favorite comment that Marvin Harrison made. And he's talking about Terrell here. So he can get his ass in whenever he gets in. If he gets in. If he doesn't get in, too bad. The hell with him. You gotta love Marvin Harrison and his frankness. Now look, if you were to compare Marvin Harrison and Terrell Owens side by side, and you just looked at their statistics, Terrell Owens actually should have been in the Hall of Fame on a first ballot. But you got to consider all of the other things when you're talking about a player making it into Canton, Ohio on a first ballot. And there's just too much Terrell Owens baggage off the field that comes with him. And Marvin Harrison knows, sometimes you got to wait. And he's patient. And he waited 3 years. And I think Marvin Harrison deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I don't know if you remember this, but for a long time, it was really, really hard for wide receivers to actually make it into the Hall of Fame. Look at Chris Carter. Look at the stats from Chris Carter's career, and it took him forever to find his way into Canton, Ohio. Okay, so elsewhere around the world of sports, Arian Foster officially knocking on doors in Houston, Texas, looking for a new gig. Look, after 2013, 2014, 2015 seasons where he was injured, he had back surgeries, he had groin surgeries, he had multiple groin surgeries, and of course he had the torn Achilles. It wasn't surprising that he was released by the Houston Texans. The Texans, all-time leading rusher, for, I think he rushed for 6,400 plus yards, 50 plus TDs throughout his career. One of my personal favorite running backs of the era to watch play when healthy. I hope Arian ends up someplace else, and I hope he can stay healthy for an entire season. Look for him to end up a Cowboy at some point. Okay, elsewhere around the world of sports, the Los Angeles Clippers. And I was thinking about this yesterday. The Clippers, their team, their team is so much better than the Los Angeles Lakers. It's not even funny. But you look at the Clippers and, this is why the Clippers are the Clippers. DeAndre Jordan is an hour away from becoming a Maverick. And then they take the Clipper jet to Dallas to talk him out of it. Blake Griffin, gets in a fight with the trainer. Doc Rivers continues to dislike and like the same players. They roll out a mascot with less than 30 games left. They call the mascot Chuck the Condor. And they name him after, that's right, Mr. Converse Chuck Taylor himself. So the Clippers are the Clippers, but they are, I think, currently the third best team in the West. And they stormed back last night from a huge deficit. They went on a 26-5 run against OKC last night for the big victory. Okay, I can tell you this. I paused the game, took Indiana for his evening walk. So we did our quarter of a mile walk, left the neighborhood. We were having a good time, me and the dog. The dog's old. He's like 12 now. So, but we did our walk and we're walking by and we passed this couple. And this girl, she's probably like 25. She's on the phone and she's talking to somebody on the phone. And she's like, you just have to be really friendly with people when you're at a bar. I mean, you should never, ever, ever have to pay for a drink. This is a fantastic line last night. So anyway, so we finally get back from the walk. And then I tune on the rest of the game. And I can't believe what I'm seeing. Look, Michael Westbrook, who I'm a huge fan of Michael Westbrook. I think so much about his game. I love it. But he reverted back to the old Michael Westbrook. And the old Michael Westbrook is the guy that kind of plays like some of the players on my CYO basketball team occasionally. And even my CYO basketball team doesn't do this anymore as we're nearing the end of the season. He dribbles down the court. He doesn't pass the ball to anybody. He gets to the three-point line. He leans in, he jumps, and he shoots a three-pointer while flying through the air. I mean, it was the most ridiculous type shot. I'm telling you, it's the kind of shot that I would have seen on my 6th grade CYO basketball team last year. And, of course, he missed it badly. And the team, the Thunder, just completely unraveled last night. I think the third best team in the National Basketball Association today is clearly the Los Angeles Clippers out of the West. I want to hear what you have to say, North America. Info at seat77.com.
Work, baby! Everybody go make a play. Brady works out the gun this time. Throw to the right and the bottom. It's picked off by Adams, and he's going to waltz in for a touchdown. Colts take the lead. And a freebie for that team. Good God. Game changer, Brady. Brady with a gift of luck runs it to the right side. Into the end zone. Touchdown, Patriots. 17-14 Pats.
Okay, North America, we listened to you. You told us that on the Dave Dabbah Big Show, we had a couple requests for this, that you wanted us to do a 2016 NFL mock draft post-combine report. So we have put one together for you. And I will tell you this, there's portions of our report that is certainly going to shock you. And we have good reasons to actually do that. We have our big board up. I wish you guys could see the big studio. We got the big board up. We've got all the names on the board. We decided to break the draft into a couple different installments. So for today's portion of the draft, we are going to cover the top 5 players post NFL Combine in the big Dave Dabbah Big Show first ever. You could say you were here. First ever mock draft. All right. So before the Combine, everybody would have gone with the defensive end from Ohio State who dots the I, Joey Bosa. And if you take a look at Joey and his career, an excellent career, I don't think that if you pick Joey up in the top 10, you can really go wrong. The knock is his passion and that he's too laid back and he's too much of like a surfer dude. He's just too relaxed. And that was the big knock that came out post-Combine. So everybody, Mel Kiper's family, the McShays, all of the other NFL draft experts have moved him away from the top pick and have said that Tennessee's no longer going to take him number 1. Look, it's really a question of what the Tennessee Titans really need. And if you look at it, Marcus Mariota, you're going to spend all this money on him. You got to protect him. I'm always a big fan of taking an offensive lineman early in a draft, especially in those first couple positions. So Laramie Tunsil is going number 1, and we agree with a lot of the other draft shows that are suggesting that he will go first. So we are going to take him number 1. Number 2 in our mock draft, the Cleveland Browns are on the clock. Look, the Cleveland Browns are always on the clock. If you guys go back and listen to some of our other broadcasts, I think it was last weekend's show, we did a special weekend show, and we covered a list of all of the Cleveland Browns quarterbacks that they have had on their team since 1999, and it was like 23 different quarterbacks have started for the Cleveland Browns since 99. I don't know if it's like they had like 50 total quarterbacks. It's just it's where quarterbacks go to die. The city of Cleveland. So the question is, what's Cleveland? What do they need? And what are they going to go with with the second pick in our 2016 NFL mock draft post combine? So a lot of the other draft shows are taking Jalen Ramsey with the second pick. Look, I think despite everything I said about quarterbacks going to die in Cleveland, I think Cleveland has no choice but to pick a quarterback at number 2. The question is, will it be Jared Goff or Carson Wentz? I really think at the end of the day, after they've done all of their analysis, that the big arm of Carson Wentz versus the cerebral Jared Goff is really what it kind of comes down to. And there's just something that tells me that the Cleveland Browns are not going to take Jared Goff. So with that being said, I think they're going to go with Carson Wentz. The Cleveland Browns have taken Carson Wentz number 2 in our NFL mock draft. Number 3, the San Diego Chargers are officially on the clock. Escondido to North County, you are on the clock. So the question is, who will San Diego pick? San Diego always goes defense when they're in these positions. I would actually really like to see them take Bosa here. I think he's the perfect fit for this defense. He's going to add significantly more to their defense if they take him at number 3. The pressure on San Diego is actually to take Jalen Ramsey, the highly touted defensive back from Florida State, the man who had very few interceptions as a defensive back at Florida State. his draft stock has been rising ever since the NFL Combine. I, on the other hand, am not really buying it, especially with a third pick. If I'm the San Diego Chargers and Bosa is still there at 3, I am taking Bosa at 3. All right, America, your team is on the clock. The Dallas Cowboys picking number 4. All right, so now remember we've got Bosa. We've got all of this other stuff going on in our draft with Bosa going to San Diego. We've got Carson Wentz going to Cleveland, and we've got Lamar Tunsil with the number 1 draft pick going to Tennessee. So who should the Dallas Cowboys pick? And there's 2 places that the Cowboys should go. First place is, look, I don't think Tony Romo, despite what Jerry Jones says, I don't think Tony Romo is going to survive another 24 months in the National Football League. I think he's 1 concussion away from an early retirement. Look, not hoping he retires. Love Tony Romo's game. He's fun to watch. He's good for the National Football League. But I think if you're Dallas and you're picking 4 and there's one of the top 2 quarterbacks there, you have to really consider making a move for a quarterback in that position. Look, if I'm the Cowboys and Goff is there, and I can have Goff sit behind Romo, who will get injured, so that means Goff will have a chance. Look what happened to Dallas when they didn't have a backup quarterback this past year. Look, I think it's crazy for the Cowboys not to take Goff at 4. So I'm going with Jared Goff at 4 for the Dallas Cowboys. A side note to that, if they pick up a backup quarterback, a really established backup quarterback at some point between now and the actual draft, and they're sitting there at 4 and Bosa is gone, then I think they got to go running back, and they should go dot the I, Ohio State, for Ezekiel Elliott at running back. He, to me, looks like the real deal. If I were the Cowboys and I did get myself a really strong quarterback as a backup going into the draft, I'm going running back at number 4, and I'm going to dot the I from Ohio State. Okay, and then that leaves us with the Jacksonville Jaguars, who magically, at this point, would have the fantastic young linebacker coming out of UCLA. UCLA has turned into like the modern day version of Penn State. It's amazing to me. All of these great linebackers coming out of UCLA. Miles Jack at number 5 for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay, North America, you asked for it. We gave you the first 5 picks of our NFL mock draft post-combine. So let us know what you think. We want to hear from you. North America. Info at seat77.com. Listen, big shows coming up next week. We've got a couple, we've got a baseball interview. We've got a couple other potential interviews popping up for the show next week. So we are super excited about that. Remember that the Clippers mascot is Chuck the Condor. The Clippers, I think, are now the 3rd best team in the West. Marvin Harrison, not a big fan of T.O., and Arian Foster has been released and is now walking the mean streets of Houston, Texas, looking for a gig. All right, for the silent one, producer Buck, as always, I'm Dave Dabbah reminding you that not everyone can be a champion, but everyone, and I mean everyone, can act like one can, and good luck, North America.